That could have been our cold opening.
Would not have been a cold opening. All right, guys, we're back for week 14. I think this is. I don't have Chris to tell me what week it is. I think it's 14. It is the third round of the playoffs. There's state championships in the private schools. A big question is West Charlotte going to get to have a normal home game against Myers Park on Friday? There's a lot to talk about. We got Andy Capone. We're going to talk about players of the week. Got some what I think are pretty good coach versus coach questions. And we'll get to it all on the backside of this. Dale and Gary.
Yeah, yes. From now on, all you got to say is what round of the playoffs. What week number it is doesn't matter.
Good point. All right, will CMS apply to the HPE policy, Dale, you think, to this Myers Park game on Friday? West Charlotte was the only team in CMS that was affected last week, had to play an hour early, and they have restrictions on fans again.
All right, I respect Sam's time tonight, but I want to say at Myers Park, held the largest or the biggest profile game of the season when they played Huff, when they hosted.
Yes, Huff. Correct. And
it was not fan limited in any manner. Right. One other thing, at Myers Park, I saw one of the worst situations I've ever witnessed at a high school football game several years ago against South Mecklenburg. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there were many consequences from that. But just to say, it's not just West Charlotte. So Friday night, West Charlotte had to push game back to 6 o'clock. Will that happen this week? You know, Langston, I hope not, but history is telling us that something's going to happen. Most likely they can't limit the ticket sales. This is an NCHSAA. Everything's NCHSAA sanctioned, but the playoffs are ran by the NCHSAA. So there are requirements you have to meet. A number of seats that you're required to be able to seat per your classification, mm-hmm. which means you've got to be able to sell that many tickets. And I guess there's not a requirement on time. CMS found a way to work around that, maybe because it was two CMS schools. But right. Langston, I'm worried they will. I hope they don't.
Gary, I'm looking at these empty stands and Dale's highlights. I mean, what do you think is going to happen on Friday?
Well, what I think is if they do it once, they'll do it twice. If they did it twice, they'll do it 3 times. It becomes a trend. I'm looking at the unintended consequences. I don't think they want to paint West Charlotte as a bad school, but they are. And I'm looking at in future seasons as far as the winter sports, the spring sports, when those teams need money that they may have been accustomed to getting last year, they're going to tell them it's not in the budget, because they didn't make the football revenue that they expected. So now that's going to affect maybe the basketball team if they want to travel or they make the playoffs. Maybe it's going to affect the track team, the baseball team, mm-hmm. whatever teams are dependent on football revenue are going to be affected later in the year because the athletic department is not going to have the money that they thought they might have.
Yeah, no, that's a very real thing. I do want to move on. Interest of time, the State Association, Gary, put up and Jim put up their official dates. Gary, I know you have a concern. I want to go to Jim first on this. It looks to me, Jim, like the 8A and the 1A are going to be playing on Thursday the 11th because they get about a week before. Disagree, agree, and do you like the setup?
I agree with you. I don't like the setup. I do understand that I believe the students will be out around that time. It might be the 10th is the last day of exams, but still I think it's just horrific logistics. Nobody wants to go to a game at 4 o'clock on a Thursday.
Gary, your thoughts about parking issues in Chapel Hill, which are always around, but especially during the week around the time people get off work?
Yeah. Even when we went to school back then, Langston, sometimes you couldn't park at the dorm you lived at.
I couldn't get my degree because I had a huge amount of parking tickets I had to pay first.
Yeah. you know, I lived in one dorm and had to park a block away from that dorm, and things like, and parking has gotten worse since we were students there, because those parking lots where we did park now have dorms
on them. That's correct.
You know, so it's tough parking on the campus. The only time it's easy parking on campus is on a Saturday. You know, when most of the employees that work at the university are not there, or on a Sunday. And, you know, Thursday or Friday afternoon, the campus is full of students as well as employees. So parking logistics are going to be tough for people coming into town that are not familiar with the campus. Now,
is this one of those things you like to talk about, your favorite 2 words, unintended consequences of going to 8A?
Consequences. You know, I know they want to show off the university, but you don't want to show how bad the parking is at the university. You know, maybe they make the employees park at a satellite lot and then they run a bus, you know, with the employees on it. But parking at the University of North Carolina, our home school, is not very good.
Langston, we did, you know, when we used to split, we had 4A and 4AA, etc. We didn't play on Thursdays.
No, we did not.
Played on Friday and Saturday.
That's correct. But they would have needed another site probably to do that. And because they're not allowed to work with sponsors anymore because of the politicians and the changes, this kind of puts them in a box. I mean, that's another, you know, unintended consequence.
Here's one thing, you know, if there's not a lot of students on campus, as Jim mentioned, they may be finished with exams. They may give employees the option of working from home.
Or early dismissal.
But if they don't do that, that parking at 4 o'clock.
Well, people don't go to football games at the start time. They go to football games 3 hours. I'm going to go to Franklin Street. I'm going to go to, you know, whatever restaurant I've heard about. You know, I want to walk around. I want to see, you know, people get there early. That's one of the things that I think attracts people to going to a college campus for a state championship, because they may not have been before. So I want to move on, though. Myers Park has dealt with a lot in this past week. They had a student athlete, Parker South, pass away, unfortunately. The soccer team had to play 2 days later. They lost in the state semifinal game. It was very emotional. The football team won the next day against Chambers. And we heard from the particulars after that game.
It was amazing. I haven't been here in this place my whole high school career, so it was amazing.
You had 3 touchdowns tonight, a lot of success on the ground. What led to that success for you?
Man, our O-line, man, they were blocking their asses off. And on the perimeter, even the wide receivers were blocking. So, yeah, that's what made that happen.
Man, it was great. Really more so excited for our seniors. Excited for our team, but especially our seniors. It's been a long 4 years. A lot of ups and downs. Their sophomore year, they made the playoffs, and then their junior year, they didn't. Lost at home to Catholic their sophomore year here in a blowout. And you know, the goal this week was to try to find a way to go 1-0. Obviously, as everybody knows, it's been a tough week here in the community. But I think what you saw is why Myers Park is Myers Park. And everybody showed up here tonight in support of all these kids. And I mean, there's a lot of people hurting. And my hope is that, you know, this can give us a little joy, you know, for a little bit as we deal with the tragedy. But, I mean, I can't say enough about our kids. You know, my focus right now first is to get through this weekend. Like I said, very, very emotional for our community, our kids. I want to get through this weekend and check on them and make sure they're okay first and foremost. You know, as coaches, you know, we're going to get to the drawing board and see. But, I mean, West Charlotte returning state champs, athletic all over the field. You know, they're good and ranked as they are for a reason. So we're going to have to play at the top of our game just to have a chance. But, I'll go to war with this group any day.
I wouldn't say I'm proud tonight because of what the score was. But overall, as a team this year, I'm proud of the guys, man. They bought into, you know, a system that they didn't know. Bought into new coaching staff, first year head coaching myself, and to go to the playoff and, you know, win a game in the playoffs, you know, was special. I always remember these guys. It was my first group as a head coach. To lose like we lost, you know, I'm not happy about that. I'm too competitive, but that's a hell of a football team over there. You know, I came from here. You know, I was over here for the past 2 seasons, so I know they're a hell of a football team. And I hate the losing. Don't get me wrong. I hate losing. I'm too competitive. But that was the better football team tonight for sure.
All right. First of all, Dale, I want to get your thoughts about Chambers. Coach Munlin has done what I think is a pretty good job of getting them back on track and had a decent year, won a playoff game on the road week 1. Your thoughts about how Chambers did this year?
I think I've said a number of times this year about how this is strange for me with the history of Vance and Chambers mostly being good.
Mm-hmm.
So it was kind of an odd experience for me, Langston, just noting where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
But, you got a new coach. He's got to bring in his culture. He's got to establish things. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see next year. I think they face challenges with West Charlotte's rise of kids wanting to go to West Charlotte. And you've got potentially the same situation just up the road at Mallard Creek. And so there's a little bit of a different, I think, environment that has been built at Chambers over the last few years because of their records.
Yeah.
That he's got a lot of work ahead of him, but I like his words about their loss. He accepted the loss, but he accepted he's competitive, and I would expect I'm going to expect they will be a better football team next year. They've got the talent over there to be.
Jim, Marsh Park has had a really tough week. What do you think is going on with that team as they try to continue to go along on the playoffs? They had a funeral for a classmate on Saturday, one day after they played a football game, 3 days after he passed away.
It was tough 35, 36 years ago when I lost a classmate, very close classmate. And your emotions are very raw. And, now I'm a lot older. I'm in my mid-50s. It's still a tough thing for me to go through. Now I'm thinking more as a parent. But those kids, they're going through adversity. This is adversity they've probably never felt before in their life.
Mm-hmm.
The people at the school going through adversity, the parents, adversity. It's a very tough thing right now. But the good news is with adversity, if there's anything that's good news about what happened, it does sometimes bring a community together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're looking for right now. You got to bring people together in these tragedies.
Yeah, give them a rallying point. Over in Union County on Friday night, Sun Valley beat Olympic pretty handily. But at the end of the game, there's a little bit of a controversy. We'll get to that after we hear from the particulars.
Yes, sir, absolutely. We're one of the best teams in the state. We know that. That's expected, man. Teams, superior teams, man, we should just run through like that, I expect it all week. We're a good team, and we dominated all night. And we really need that week to get healthy, get us prepared for this game. Went up there, scouted them on Friday, got a good look at them. We're preparing all 2 weeks now. Not really any worry. They were hot. They didn't play a very good team last week. We weren't too worried about it, but it was definitely good for us to rest.
Yeah, we talked all week about getting off to a fast start. I thought the guys really did a good job with that. We just got to stop, hurting ourselves with stupid penalties. Really hard on the guys right now, especially this coming week of, take care of your business, do what you're supposed to do, have fun doing it, but we got to stop giving other people opportunities to get back in the game with stupid penalties.
Yeah, first of all, really proud of those young men. Go 9-3 officially on the season and win a conference championship, man. Just super proud of those guys. Fought through a lot of adversity. Stuck together the entire season. We were very banged up tonight. Lost key players, throughout the season, and those guys still persevered. So I'm very proud of them. Ultimately, we didn't control the line of scrimmage on either side. Hats off to Sun Valley, well coached, really good football team, tough football team that really controlled the line of scrimmage. We're very efficient tonight. So we just, my guys played hard, but just could never get anything going.
The incident at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Do you plan on any disciplinary measures against the players involved?
Yeah, those guys will be held accountable. Nothing, it wasn't a fight or anything like that, but, still we got to do better control of our emotions, even though, I had a very emotional moment with the season coming to an end, but we got to do a better job of that, so we'll hold them accountable.
What do you hope your guys who are coming back next year take from not just tonight, but the whole season?
We had really good senior leadership that now it's their turn to step up and identify who those leaders are, and to be resilient like this team was, no matter what adversity comes their way, to still show resiliency.
All right, Gary, what happened was after the game, a group of Olympic players led by their quarterback jumped over the fence between the football field and the stands to confront the Sun Valley students who they said had been heckling them all game. Luckily, police came in and nothing happened, but your thoughts about that? You heard what Coach Thompson said at the end. Those guys will be disciplined.
One thing about the playoffs, as that clock is winding down on that last possession, the finality of it starts to hit people. That, especially when you're on the losing side. The final, everybody in each class is going to lose except one team. Everybody finishes their season with a loss. And that's the hard thing about the playoffs, is it can only be one winner. And when that finality strikes, it's incumbent upon coaches to spread themselves out, and they can't have a pity party too. Right. They don't have time to have a pity party. You got to monitor the handshake line. You got to make sure that the team goes in the right direction. Usually teams meet in the end zone or at midfield somewhere. But as coaches, as a coaching staff, you have to prepare ahead of time for that. You can tell, I saw it in a game Friday night. It gets chippy, that last series, because the finality is striking. You got one group that's dejected and frustrated, and you got the other group that's ready to celebrate. I even saw it last night in the Johnson C. Smith championship game.
Yeah, it got chippy at the end.
Yeah, it got chippy at the end because the finality hits the losing team, and they don't want to see the other team celebrate at their expense. So
do you call a timeout and tell your guys we're not going to do anything crazy? We're just going to let the clock run out and go on?
If you see it's getting chippy, even last night in the Wake Forest Carolina game, Belichick calls a timeout when the other team is trying to let the clock run out. Belichick calls a timeout. Okay, I'm gonna give you something to call a timeout for, so Wake Forest scores a touchdown.
And Belichick did not take a knee.
Yeah, and then in the game, Belichick don't want to shake hands. Yeah. Well, you started it. Calling a timeout with 20-something seconds left.
But what we don't want to see is a fight between football players and the student section, right, Jim? That's not what we want to see, right?
The coaches have really got to monitor that handshake line. Yeah. And if they see a little chippiness in that last series, they gotta put themselves in a position so that they can prevent something like that from happening.
I've been in many games. Yeah, I've been in many games, Jim, where there was no handshake line. The coaches meet and say, "This is just out of hand. We're not going to shake hands." You think that's a good way to do it?
I think so. To be honest with you, I think if the emotions are running really high right now, what you want to do is you always want to encourage good sportsmanship. But when you see something like a car that's laying in the train tracks or the train coming in, sometimes it's best just to do something else. Safeguard those moments. So I have no problems with that.
Well, hopefully we won't have any more incidents like that for the rest of the playoffs. But we did talk about the best players of the week from last week. There's a whole show on SharpObserver.com. You can see those guys interviewed, see their highlights. You can see them on the screen. The one that jumped out at me was Jamal Rule at Charlotte Christian Dale. They went up to Rabun Gap, which is a hard place to win. It's like a 4-hour bus ride. He goes for almost 200 yards rushing, over 100 yards passing. And if you watch the video, he's busting out all these long touchdown runs. And he seems like a really nice guy off the field, Dale, but on the field, he's a monster.
He's a beast, a true statement. On our OT show last week, I didn't see this as an automatic Rabun Gap win.
You did not. You called it. Yeah, you said that.
Yeah, no. Christian's a good football team. Are they Providence Day good? Well, Rule seems to think so.
Well, they were hurt earlier in the year. Now they're healthy.
Yeah, exactly. So he put a little bit of locker room.
You got to go watch the show. Go watch that player.
Exactly. Yeah. Watch that interview. But that kid is, one word to use for him is determined.
Yeah.
And I think he's determined on the field. You can see that.
Yeah.
We could see that before the interview. He was determined. So
yeah, because he didn't have any voice, and all of a sudden he had voice. He's ready to talk. All right, well, look, guys, great stuff, guys. We'll be back after the break. We're going to put Jim and Dale to work, talk about the high school football playoffs, give you the best breakdown in North Carolina. I'm going to try to replace the number one voice of high school football, Chris Hughes, who's been traveling. So we'll see if I can do that when we come back.
Hey, this is Chris Hughes, host of the Observer's Talking Preps. Proud to say that our show is growing and growing and growing, and we've got a brand new schedule. Mondays at 8 p.m., get our players of the week. No more waiting. Then on Tuesday, 8 p.m., catch me and Sam and all the guys of the number one show in high school football in North Carolina, Talking Preps. Wednesdays, 8:30, Dale Ross and Jim West will host Talking Preps OT Live, talking about statewide issues, trends, and interacting with viewers. And don't miss our post-game show Fridays at 11 p.m. where we wrap up all of the night's actions. At Talking Preps, we've got you covered all week.
All right, guys, we're back. I am not Chris Hughes. Luckily, I have Jim West to help me. We're going to talk about these playoff games coming up. Jim, one game Friday night. Is there one game that stood out to you on Friday in this bracket?
Be honest with you, no, all of them are pretty much blowouts. The only thing I'd say that stands out, having to go from Lake Waccamaw, East Columbus, all the way to, I guess that's Danbury over North Stokes near Virginia. That's a long drive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the 1A schools have it the hardest. Tell me about in the East on Friday. What do you see, Beargrass Charter and Northside? I
see Northside winning fairly handily. I think that second game, Wilson Prep, Kip Pride, is going to be a different story. I think that could go either way.
Is the winner of that coming out?
You know what? I think Northside, Wilson Prep, and Kip Pride, all three of those teams are pretty evenly matched.
Okay. Tell me about the East. On the West, rather. East Columbus, Robbinsville, Thomas Jefferson, South Davidson.
East Columbus
couple teams under 500 in the third round.
Exactly. And East Columbus will even have a further drive from the coast to Robbinsville. You don't get much farther than that. Robbinsville win in a pretty handily, and that South Davidson Thomas Jefferson game that could actually be pretty good. I'll say that's going to be a one-score game either way.
Okay. In the 2A, one game Friday night stuck out to you, or two games? Anything stick out in the 2A class?
Mountain Island Charter beating Allegheny. That surprised me. I know Mountain Island Charter has the talent. Allegheny this year has not had a slip up at all. Mountain Island Charter maybe not quite as consistent, but they won, and they won with defense last Friday.
Yeah, and then let's flip over to this week's games in the East. What do you see here? Looking at the records, it looks like we might have four, pretty easy wins for home teams, but I can be wrong.
I think that Holmes North Duplin game is going to be the one to watch. I think Holmes can win that game. North Duplin is a power running team, but that one's going to be pretty even.
Okay, and Dale, I see your friends from Corvian are making a run up on the western side.
Yeah, I think they're going to make a run all the way, but this week, no problem with no problem.
Is it Corvian Tarboro rematch you calling for, Dale?
Well, I think so.
Okay,
but I think there's a Murphy team that there's a few teams that could give roadblocks. Community School of Davidson maybe being the biggest one, but yeah.
Well, Community School Davidson has to play Murphy on Friday, Dale. So only one of them will be a roadblock.
I think they'll win. Well, true, but either one that comes out of that can be a roadblock.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Right, but I think Community School wins this week.
Okay, all right. 3A, Jim, on Friday night, Lincolnton Mountain Heritage, that could have a lot of points in it.
Oh, I agree. I think that's going to be a really good game. That game's going to be over in Yancey County, so that's going to be a cold game, or has the potential of being cold. It actually may, from looking at the weather forecast, it might not be quite as cold as I'd imagine, but that home field advantage does become a little bit stronger this time of year. I like Mountain Heritage in that game.
All right, Shelby, Mount Airy, Walkertown. It should be Walkertown, not Walkerstown. At Eastern Randolph. Any thoughts on that game? West Davidson, North Stanley.
I actually have two teams on the road that I think will win. I think Shelby beat Mount Airy, and I think Walkertown will beat Eastern Randolph. I'll give my boys in blue, the Comets, North Stanley, a slight edge over West Davidson.
And tell me about the East.
James Keenan, Martin County, those two teams are rolling right now. But the team that I'm really impressed with is Kinston. Last week they beat number 3 seed Midway by 3 touchdowns, and Kinston is a team that for one of the last weeks of the season they held Tarboro to a 42-35 win. Kinston's getting hot at the right time, so keep an eye on that. That Pender Northeastern game, that's going to be a really good one. Surprise a lot of people. I'm picking Pender to win that one.
Tell most of our viewers come from the Raleigh and Charlotte areas. How do you say that team Kinston's playing against? Tell them how to pronounce that name.
Pasquotank.
Pasquotank. All right.
Yeah. So there, you go down there. People say Perquimans. No, it's Perquimans. They say Bertie. No, it's Bertie.
I did know Bertie. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's all good though.
All good. All right. 4A, Burns Brevard, Maiden, Newton, Conover, Mount Pleasant, Pisgah, Stuart Kramer, Highbrighton. Best game of those four. Any upsets you see?
I think the best one is Stuart Kramer and Highbrighton, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be a really good one. Although I'll say this, that Maiden, Newton, Conover, those two teams played the very end of the season, and that game went into overtime. So, two
traditional powers. Dale, you see anything in the West that you like?
I see some good football games. I think it'll be interesting to see what Stuart Kramer can do with Highbrighton, who's a really good football team. But then Stuart Kramer showed us something Friday night that I didn't think
they did. I think they showed everybody. So, yeah. In the East, Jim, I see some. I think I'll be taking home teams everywhere. Maybe in that bottom game, but
I think so too. I don't see any the way teams come within 2 touchdowns of the home teams in the East.
Boy, these new playoffs just bringing a whole lot of predictable blowouts. 5A, Jim. Let's start in the East this time. Havelock at Croatan. Any chance for Havelock to get a W? And then tell me about the other 3 games.
Oh, big time. Havelock and Croatan played earlier on in this season, and that was, I think it was a 6-point win by Croatan. Right now, Havelock is playing their best game. They've won 6 games in a row. Don't be surprised if Havelock wins that game. Northeast Guilford, I like them against Rocky Mount. Northside St. Paul's, that's going to be a good game. I'm going to go with Northsides. And that Southern Nash Hunt, that's an 8 versus a 1. That game could go either way. Those 2 teams played earlier on in the season, I believe, and Hunt won. So I expect some pretty good football in the East.
And then Dale, in the West, that is a monster game up at the top, East Lincoln and Crest.
Those are possibly the 2 best teams in 5A.
Period.
Period. I'm there. I said possibly because, you got Hickory, you got South Point, you got maybe J.M. Robinson that can, sneak up there. But if I could go to a game, that East Lincoln Crest game I'd like to go to. I think it's going to be interesting to see how well Monroe can play against South Point. That's that's a potential good game, and that's South Point's a really good football team themselves. A lot of good football games.
Yeah, if Monroe can keep South Point off the field, I think they got a really good chance to get the win. They can't let that ground and pound thing get going for South Point. That red bone get going on them. Robinson, Dale, has just been surprising people all year. I mean, they lost that first game to Myers Park. People thought maybe they weren't that good. Oh, guess what? We won 10 in a row.
Yeah, don't count them out. I think I don't think it's a dark horse. I think it's an outside favorite. Is the way I look at them, right on the edge of a favorite. So not a dark horse. That's a good football team. Underrated.
All right, let's go to the 6A. Charlotte Catholic, Dale, it looked like the speed limit slowed down. It's kind of like Sam last year. They got out of all that 4A. They got the 3A playoffs. Catholic's getting away from all those 7A teams. Now they get into the 6A and making a run. Now they got to go to Watauga. But if you're a team like Catholic and you can control the ball, that's the type of team that can pull an upset on the road. Am I reaching or
not? I think the things that can hurt a Watauga don't exist on a Charlotte Catholic team. Now, I'm not saying Charlotte Catholic can't beat
So I'm reaching.
But are you reaching?
Oh, you just said I'm reaching. You just said I'm reaching.
I said you're reaching. Maybe because this I think if we had a Sun Valley as an example going up to Watauga, no question. But because you've got that element of speed, there's a difference in the game, whereas Catholic's game is going to be more similar to a Watauga game. But as in any game, if you can control clock,
that's all.
So use the entire time that you have. Snap within 5 seconds of every play down, and shorten the game, shorten the time that teams can have possession. Then yes, but in the end, you can do that on offense. But if your defense can't stop the other team, then you got a problem. So I don't know.
Ashbrook really struggled last week. We were thinking they were kind of a team that might make a real run at coming out of the.
They didn't struggle. Come on.
They didn't.
Oh, I considered going to that game because I figured it would be a good game. Is Statesville one of the best teams? Statesville's a good team that can do some good things. And one of our friends was at the game, and he said Statesville just played very well.
Okay, fair enough.
Was a very good looking.
I'm scoreboard watching. Yeah,
scoreboard watching. You got to look at what the teams can do. So I still like Ashbrook, but I didn't think. In the end, I thought Ashbrook would win by 2 touchdowns. That is what my thoughts were, let's say, Friday morning when I thought about the game.
Right.
And should I go to Ashbrook? I was still considering it, but it was the whole – if I had not gone to West Charlotte, which was to support West Charlotte for the 6 p.m. start, I would have gone to the Ashbrook game.
Your friends at Kings Mountain, you've been really hard on them. They're making a run there.
I know they are, but, I can't jump back on that bandwagon right now. I've been on that bandwagon for years.
That's 70-0 lost you. Is that what lost you?
No, they lost me before that because Langston. I was tired of getting behind them and then seeing them fail in the playoffs every season, failing in the playoffs in games they shouldn't fail in. So, what? Good 8-4. I still like them, but I'm not. I don't think they're. I don't know. I think that Ashbrook's got a better shot. Sun Valley and Ashbrook are my 2 favorites in the West.
I like Sun Valley over Freedom too. I agree. I mean, Sun Valley looked really good against Olympic on Friday, and that quarterback Noah Lomberg is a really, really good player.
Jim, number one power rated team in 6A is Sun Valley. Just to let you know,
another one of those teams in one of those split conferences is playing down the speed limit, slowing down. Jim, Scotland County, Jacksonville's. You think Scotland can go down and pull an upset?
Yes, I think that game is going to be fairly close. I think Jacksonville is probably, I'm going to say, a 4 to 6 point favorite, but that Scotland can definitely win that game. And just to let you know, in the West, I probably will be at that Kings Mountain at Northern Guilford game. That's about an hour away from my house. So
what about 70 Fierce at Northern Nash? We got to work on our spelling it.
The fiercest team in the playoffs.
That game could go into multiple overtimes. Those 2 teams are so close to each other.
Yeah.
Right now I have them just fractions apart. I'm giving Northern Nash the advantage being a home team, but should be a great game.
And those bottom 2.
You know what? Union Pines, that's my team in the East right now. I like them. And Middle Creek, Southern Alabama, so I'm going to go to Middle Creek. Just let you know, Middle Creek is where my ancestors, the West, used to grow tobacco.
Man, picking with his heart. Picking with your heart gets you in trouble sometimes.
Langston.
There you go.
Yes.
Ryan Smith, former quarterback at Sun Valley, I like the Smiths, and I didn't make a comment about that, but here he is.
There he is. Got his team in the 3rd round and looking really good to advance. Absolutely, I would pick them in that game. All right, so we're going to come back with the guys. We're going to break down as Grice used to call it the big boy playoffs with the 7A, 8A, and the private schools. We'll be right back after this message. Every week on Thursday and Saturday morning, get the latest in high school news from around the region in the Charlotte Observer's free newsletter, Talking Preps, the newsletter. Make sure you sign up now. All right, guys, it's time to talk about the fight clubs, plural, I'll say. Let's start out with the private schools. Sam, well, actually, before I come to that game, Asheville School of High Point Christian. High Point Christians play really well all year long. They got a chance to finish it off at home. I think they'll do it. I don't, as Dale always likes to say, I think it's probably 1 or 2 touchdowns. I think they'll get it done. High Point Christian's just been rolling throughout the playoffs. See, last week they won 56-0. I think they're going to handle D2. But Sam, the rematch, Charlotte Christian and Providence Day. We had Jamal Rule on the Player of the Week show. Make sure you guys go check that out on charlotteobserver.com. He talked about how they got to see us. We weren't healthy round one. We won them. And it was the same thing with Raven Gap last week. They were not healthy the first time, healthy now. Do they have a puncher's chance to go beat Providence Day on Friday?
A puncher's chance? No. They are more improved. That was an impressive win. It's a lot of points being scored. It's a basketball score right there, 55-48. A little disturbing on the defensive end. If it was 55-20 something, then I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, something's going on. But you're giving up a lot of points, and Providence Day's defense is extremely good as well too. So I just still think, like I said before, the last time they played, it was going to be 21 points or more, and it was. Mm-hmm. If they make it within a 2-score game, I'd be very impressed. Very impressed. Now, puncher's chance, do they throw out the knockout blow and something funky happens in the game? Yes, that can happen. But if both teams remain healthy throughout the game, for the most part, I think it's still a 21-point deficit for them.
Hells, you saw Providence Day up close and personal. If they have one weakness, am I right in saying it's stopping the run?
Man, I mean, I could say that. It would sound disingenuous coming from me and what we did against them. But no, I think the thing to me is the way Christian does run it. Like, not so much saying that as a knock against Providence Day's run defense, but with Jamal and like the way they're able to block for him, like that keeps you in a game. Like, and that's the thing. Like, you're asking puncher's chance. Absolutely, they have a puncher's chance because they've got a guy that looks like they can hand it to 85 times, not just like 25 times. Like that Joker's put together, but he's also got a chance to take it to the house too. And I mean, that's just the right formula. If they're going to pull an upset, that's the way it's got to happen. So, like, I don't know what the real answer is to your question, but that's what I think.
I was just trying to point out that if, I was saying Christian they really do well. If Providence State has any weakness, is stopping the run, and that's the strength of Christian is running the football.
That's a good match.
If Jamal has the game that he's supposed to have and wins this game, all right, and he goes for 200 yards or 180 yards.
You make it a Mr. Football. You put him on the list.
He'll get my vote.
Wow.
So how is not controlling the clock, shortening the game, which a good running game can do? That's I always believe
that's my point. But the only problem with Jamal is he don't shorten the game because he takes it 80 yards.
Well, I understand, but I'm just saying here, you can always extend your play time, to shorten the clock.
Yeah,
there are ways you can develop a puncher's
What are you going to do when you're doing your 14-0 right away and you start panicking?
Sam, what happens now?
Look at Gary nodding. Gary's like, yeah.
I'm with you on that, Sam, but a puncher's chance, things also happen. These are high school kids.
I said a puncher's chance. They got a puncher's chance. I'm just saying.
No, you said they don't have a puncher's chance.
They lose by 20.
You said no puncher's chance.
I think if they played 10 times, they'd lose 10 times. Okay, and that's not disrespectful.
That's going to be on somebody's Instagram reel. Gary put it
on. They don't have a chance, is what you're saying.
And I'm saying this. They've improved. They beat Raven Gap there. That was impressive. That made me raise an eyebrow. And Jamal is a heck of a football player. Not just one of the best. Like, he's up for Player of the Year for a reason. But do you not think Providence Day knows that they got to stop the run too? They got great coaches and they got great players.
All I'm saying is if they have a weakness, that is the weakness, and I think Charlotte Christian can exploit that. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it could be another game like
it could be a
55-48 game again.
It could be just like the first game, exactly.
If they want to be known as Charlotte Christian and not the other school down the street, they got to win this game.
That's right. Because they're the school down the street. And each time I've gone to this game, I've only been to like 4 of them, I think. But that's what they call them. They're like,
you should go Friday.
They're like they don't even care about them. So They know that. So that's more motivation.
Gary, put a ball on this for me. What do you think?
Are we trying to sell tickets or are we trying to be honest?
We don't have to try to sell tickets.
You know how
Those
we do.
are already sold.
You know how we do, Gary.
If we're trying to sell tickets, this argument is great. But if we're trying to be honest, if they gave up 48 to Raven Gap, I'm saying at least 2 or 3 more touchdowns in Raven Gap, and them not getting as many. Like Sam said, it's once they get down 14-0, you can't play catch up running the ball. They're gonna have to throw it to keep pace.
It only takes one play.
At that point, listen, at 14-0, you can hang in there with the run game. At 14-0, you make it 14-7. Sam, like when we played, like I said, like I took as much air out of the ball as possible. We're one play away from being tied at halftime.
True.
And I think Christian's probably much closer to Providence Day in talent than maybe we were to West Charlotte that night. So I think the opportunity is there. Do they have to play great? Yeah. Like it's like Art told our kids last week. There's a path to victory. It's not a clean path. Like you got to go through some bushes and there's some holes in the ground, and like you got to be willing to get bloody and cut up and scratched up. There's a path there, but it's not.
Do they have those kids to do that? I think they got one.
They have D1 college kids. Yeah, they do.
They got more than one.
A D1
quarterback threw for 5 touchdowns last week.
D1 does not make you have a certain personality, go through the briar patch and all that stuff like Hell's is saying. Just saying that. And
they beat a nationally ranked football team on the road. The team that's only lost at Raven Gap. I can't remember last time we lost at Raven Gap.
Providence Day is the team he's talking about has to go through the bushes and all to get there.
Gary said move on.
I'm not.
Gary said move on.
Let's do that.
Let's move on. All right. We're going to move on.
Let him go, Gary.
7A in the East, Jim. Tell me about the Eastern games in 7A.
I'll tell you what, the interesting thing, I saw Hillside and Cardinal Gibbons might be playing on Thursday night. I saw something in the news about that. I don't know if that's true or not. I did see Hillside play last week. Their defense is really good. I think Cardinal Gibbons will handle that game. Clayton, I think they're going to be a solid favorite. That Cape Fear Gardner game should be pretty close. And the Southeast Raleigh Cleveland, I'm giving Cleveland probably a 10 to 14 point advantage. That Southeast Raleigh team, though, is a dangerous team.
Who's coming out of the East, Jim?
Who's going to come out of the East? Right now, I like Clayton.
Our guy, Scott Chadwick. Going to a chip. All right, Sam, Faison Brandon hadn't played since he played against you at Bank of America Stadium week 1. Came back, looked really good against West Cabarrus in the second round of playoffs. Now they're getting ready for Jack Britt. Do you think he has enough time to get fully ready before they play a heavyweight in a couple of weeks?
100%, yes, and that's what they needed. I didn't think Grimsley would win the state championship if he didn't play. And we had that discussion. If you ask me now, I might reconsider who I would take to win the state championship.
Oh, wow.
I think that he is Cam Newton in high school. The kid, if he needs 3 yards, he can get 3 yards. He throws a pretty ball, but when the tough gets going and he's asked to make a play, he did it versus us, and we knew it was coming, and we had a hard time stopping it. And so
was he better than you thought he was?
He was exactly what is advertised. I thought our quarterback probably outplayed him in the game. But he did what he had to do to win the game. If we eliminated the penalties, I think we get the game, but obviously that's neither here or there. But he made the plays, and on that last play where he got hurt, scored a touchdown, it broke his hand, broke his wrist, something. But he's tough enough to make it happen. He doesn't have to use his arm, which he can do, but it's deadly to know that you have a great offensive line, a good running game, and then all of a sudden he brings another element to the running game that they didn't have, in my opinion. And when it gets cold, you need that. And I think that they know how to win football games. Grimsley knows how to do that late in the year.
Gary, does Lake Norman, do they have a puncher's chance against Weddington? You want to move on to 7A. I'm going to put you on the spot.
No, they do not.
That's all you got to say?
That's all we're getting tonight out of Gary.
Moving on. All right, Hales, we got a lot of green and gold. One of those Hales itchy nose games.
I love it.
What do you see? This used to be the marquee game, Richmond County.
Yeah. one of my favorite games ever that I had nothing to do with. There's two of them. My first time I ever went to a game at Memorial Stadium was the night that Joe Cox almost had his head separated from his body.
Oh, yeah.
On that hit by the kid. The guy ended up playing a long time in the league. Great pass rusher. And then another year when Richmond came up here, I think it was 2008, and beat Independence in the playoffs. Like, anytime like they had their hearts broken like that, to me, that was a great night. Like, I love seeing Independence get their heart broken like that.
Well, they won
2018 was when Indy won the state championship.
They won the Joe Cox game.
But what I'm saying is that was a long time ago. I mean, this is 15, 17, 18 years has passed.
Yeah.
You know, I think the world of DJ McFadden. I really hope the best for them. And again, with Independence being a conference team, like, I absolutely want to see Independence make that happen. But the thing is, like, we're at the point now, and I know we'll get to it later in the show, chalk's not going to happen all the way through. Like, this is the round. Somebody's getting knocked out that you don't expect to get knocked out. And just looking at those 8 games right there on the board, like, it's probably not coming from Britt Grimsley. So, like, your odds are getting smaller and smaller. Somebody's getting knocked out of this tournament that we think should still be playing on after Friday night. And this might be a round with Richmond coming up to Independence. You better be careful.
Sam,
I think they can score. I think they can score some points. I would be concerned. Richmond County is giving up a lot of points, and I think Independence is getting really hot right now. And they're playing good defense. They're getting their linebacker back probably this game.
Yeah.
That's been out a few games. I think the difference is the defense, and I would give the edge to Independence. Obviously, I chose them to possibly win the 7A state championship. That's before I knew the quarterback was coming back at Grimsley. But I'm not going to die off of it. I'm pulling for the guys that are in our conference. If Butler, the November Nightmares are there, I'd be pulling for them too. You pull for guys that you battle with. You respect them. You want everybody in your conference to be successful, to show that we have the best conference in the state. So I think it'll be a little bit too much. But I think it's the 4 corners. I don't think anybody at home's losing in the West.
All right.
That's going to be the closest game right there, I think.
So,
which one? You're saying Richmond and
Independence.
So
Richmond Independence.
I mean, Reagan and Mooresville is going to be a battle too.
Yeah, I was just about to say, you guys think Mooresville's going to handle Reagan? You think that'll be?
I think Mooresville wins that game.
But listen, go back to what you were saying with the Christian Providence Day game.
Yeah.
That Reagan run game, that could be a problem for Mooresville. I mean, they got the opportunity. They got the guys where they can line up and go right at you and say, we're running. Guess what? We're running the football. Like, stop us.
Let's take a look at that private school Division III bracket.
Wow. Look at this.
What's called? Can we, all right, I got a suggestion. Can we remove Hells while we bring the bracket up?
Are they playing this week?
But you see how that tight face gets bigger, Gary? You see how big that tight face
Right, we're on like Times New Roman 24 font when we get to this.
Right,
these are the big dogs. These are the big dogs right here.
Before we start, Dale caught something in West Charlotte on Friday. Really caught my eye. It's coming up in just a second. It just blew my mind, this highlight that he caught at West Charlotte, because it's something I never thought I'd see. Look at that.
Told you I got it. Wow.
That dang AI is some amazing stuff.
All right, let's start in the East, Jim. Tell me about this unbeaten match between Jordan and Millbrook. I know you think Millbrook's going to win the whole thing, so tell me about this game.
It's going to be about defense. Whoever has the best defense, and my money's on Millbrook. I think it's going to be a really good one there. I'm thinking something like maybe a 20-7 score.
Roseville had a fight last week. Did that surprise you? And will they continue to win at Hoggett going down to Wilmington?
Oh, you know what? Roseville hasn't had that really impressive win this whole season. They've beaten some marginal opponents by 50 points. Don't get me wrong, but they haven't beaten a really elite team. I've seen Hoggard play earlier on the season. I think Hoggard should win the game. Everything's going to have to go right for Roseville to win that game.
Okay, let's tell me about West Forsyth and Huff, Jim.
I'm Huff all the way.
Gary, you going Huff all the way? I know you want to.
All the way, 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
Yeah, I agree with Gary.
Dale, 4 touchdowns. The West Forsyth people were chirping on social media, Dale. They were like,
could be more.
Well, the West Forsyth people were chirping on social media. They said they got some.
I don't care. This is Huff we're talking about here. They can chirp. Chirping doesn't win ball games.
It's also
now, I picked West Forsyth to win last week. I just want to remind everybody of that now.
Are you picking them to win this week?
You did.
No. Huff.
Go ahead, Hales. What do you think about this game? West Forsyth and Huff. What do you think? Will West Forsyth score 14 points?
Yeah, they'll score 14 points. There's no reason they won't score 14 points. You know, and again, when you get to this time of the year, it's who runs their stuff the best and who's able to disrupt the other team from running their best stuff. You know, how committed is West Forsyth going to be to what they do offensively, to what they do defensively? And here's the thing, Baker, I love you, Chachi. I mean, I think you're a great guy, like all that stuff. I fell for the Huff thing last year. Like last year, I was saying Huff all the way. Huff's going to win this state championship. It's November. Like, don't do this anymore. Like, you want to win your state championship, like, quit playing around, make it happen. You know, like, we've been here enough times. Enough of us have been fooled by it. Now it's time, and I think they know that. And I think this is the year that Huff, you know, at least they go break through this round, you know. But
go ahead and say what you're gonna say. Don't worry about Sam sitting there. Say it. Say it with your chest.
No, I got another week. That's like somebody asking me on Tuesday if I'm ready for the game. Like, no, I'm not ready for the game. I got 3 more practices to get through. Like, I'm talking about this week. I think Huff, like, you know, you're sick of hearing from guys like me, apparently, or I'm the brand new voice talking about this stuff, but you got to make it happen. And you know, make it happen this week.
All right. Myers Park and West Charlottesville. Myers Park, one of the hotter teams in North Carolina. They got that big win at Weddington under their belt. They probably have something to play for with the Arkansas situation. Now they're going to play West Charlotte. I hope everybody can come to the game who wants to come to the game. But what do you see here? Does Myers Park have the right mix of ingredients to even, you know, score enough points to beat West Charlotte?
Yeah, let me say one thing. Huff has got to finish. That's one thing I've been saying all season about another school. You got to finish. So, Hales, you're right. They got to be able to finish, meaning you got to get through the next game. You know, when I was at the Myers Park Huff game, and I was very impressed with the Myers Park defensive play, especially that defensive end. My gosh, that guy's good.
He's up for Mr. Football for a reason.
Yeah, he is good. Just absolutely great edge rusher. Myers Park had the problem of finishing in that game. They finished with field goals. So 2 drives ended with field goals, 6 points, you know.
Right.
You got to finish. And the one thing the Huff defense was able to do was to keep them from finishing and ultimately hold themselves in until they blew the game out. So in saying that, this West Charlotte defense is as good as any defense I've seen. That was a fantastic defensive performance Friday night. Yeah, it was Providence, but still fantastic defensive performance. 3 pick sixes. One of them didn't count, but still 3 pick sixes. Yeah. That's the way I'm going to call it. That's the way I see it.
The thing about Myers Park offensively in their bigger games, they did score 28 against Weddington. They only had 13 against Mallet Creek, and they had 6 against Huff. So they have not been able to generate a lot of points against elite teams. Sam's defense is certainly elite. Can they score enough to beat West Charlotte, a team that will score on you when they're on defense?
No, they can't. The only thing is this may keep the game close for a half is, you know, some bad special teams or too many penalties on West Charlotte. But by the end of the game, West Charlotte by 4 touchdowns.
Sam, I'm going to give you a chance to get yourself in trouble. I'll even put you in the big shot and let you talk about this game. Go ahead. Tell me what the game plan is to beat Myers Park.
Well, I'm not going to give the game plan. We respect the heck out of the group. I mean, we got as much film as we need to look at them, and they're a really good football team. There's a reason why they beat Weddington. There's a reason why they were with Huff for up to 3 quarters. They are very spectacular. They're explosive. You know, got a great running game, big up front. Defensively, like you said, the defensive ends are spectacular. They cover well. They got Division I athletes. They got receivers. They got everything you need. Got a great kicking game. But they're coming to our home, and we're going to protect our home. Simple enough.
All right. That said, man's confident. He says the best team he's ever coached. So we'll see. We'll be right back after this. Jim, thank you so much for filling in, because if I didn't have Chris and didn't have you, it'd be a really short show.
Hey, this is Chris Hughes, host of the Observer's Talking Preps. Proud to say that our show is growing and growing and growing, and we've got a brand new schedule. Mondays at 8 p.m., get our players of the week. No more waiting. Then on Tuesday, 8 p.m., catch me and Sam and all the guys of the #1 show in high school football in North Carolina, Talking Preps. Wednesdays, 8:30, Dale Ross and Jim West will host Talking Preps OT Live, talking about statewide issues, trends, and interacting with viewers. And don't miss our post-game show Fridays at 11 p.m., where we wrap up all of the night's actions. At Talking Preps, we've got you covered all week.
All right, welcome back. We got a treat. The guy that Sam is deathly afraid of is in the back. We got Andy Capone of Weddington. Coach Capone, how you doing?
Good. How are y'all? I don't know why Sam's scared of me, though.
Sam's scared of you, man.
I don't know why I'm scared either. Langston says that I'm scared of y'all. I respect the heck out of you, though. You still have the greatest winning streak. How many? If you win this week, how many weeks would it, or how many years in a row would it be practicing on Thanksgiving Day?
12.
12
or 13.
This will be 13 if you're able to do it, right?
Yeah,
and that's why Sam's scared of you.
That's why he's scared of you. And he's glad you're not in the same class as him. He's glad
he's 8A. I don't have to worry about Sam.
Yeah, he's in 8A.
Last time, hey, it's 7-on-7 bullcrap. But last time me and Capone got after it a little bit. We got after their tail. It was a 7-on-7 bullcrap, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, can we break a little news before I get to the graphic? Can we get a Weddington West Charlotte 2-game series next year, Coach Capone? Can we get that?
Bank of America. I like it.
Yeah, Riley Fields. Can we get that? Can we get that?
Hey, I'm in for it.
You in for it?
Let's do it.
But we're on a 2-year contract, so we'd have to make some things.
We make a move around. We can help. We can help
make it work.
Well, Sam, on Friday night, Mr. Capone won his 100th game in 8 years. Andy, 110. How do you do that? How do you go 110
and he's 20, and he's 28 years old. It's crazy.
I'm not 28 anymore. It's great players. It's great staff and a great community. And we've just been fortunate to been able to play really good football. But helps when you have great kids and great coaches, and the continuity of. Sorry, the dog is in the back.
You're right.
Just the continuity of a staff. I haven't had to really hire a lot of staff, and kids coming in and playing Weddington type of football, and that's something that we pride ourselves on, and we're really really proud of the product that we put on the field, and if COVID didn't take that fall year away, it might have been a little bit better with Will's senior year that we didn't get. So But hey, I'm just thankful to be where I'm at, and the community and the players and really the staff.
I'm impressed. I got 2 guys with 3 state championships on the show, with the other guy who doesn't have 3. But what do you think? What do you think about? What do you think about what? Sam, you my guy. What do you think about what Coach Capone's been able to do? Because you've had a similar run in your time with Butler.
No, it's funny to me, and Coach and I were texting last weekend, and I kind of asked him, who they were playing, things like that, and he's like, yeah, I hate playing the same team twice. They went for beating him, Coach. Would you beat him the first time, 43 or 49-0, to beating him 63-0 the second time?
47, yeah, 47.
How do you think?
So it's like you worry about you're preparing yourself like, oh, what are these guys going to do different? But they're on the other side. And here's the thing, Andy, and Coach, I hope you never find this part out, but being on the other side of it, trying to be the team, how do we shave 49 points off of what happened last time? And it's just, man, it's just such a tribute to you and you guys that you just keep setting the bar higher. It's almost like who we're playing doesn't matter. It's about how good can we become.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I've been on the other side as an assistant. We lost to Catholic 42-0 in the regular season. We got them getting in the 3rd round. Coach Carson's last year, and I was offense coordinator. I swore we had the plan to beat them, and then I look up and it's 42-0 in the third quarter, running clock. So, I've been there when I was 20, 25, but the worry we had was just 2 weeks off. Our bye week in the regular season was the last week of the regular season, and then our first round bye. So keeping kids that are 15 and 18-year-old locked in and focused was a concern. And to their credit, they had a great 2 weeks of bye week practice, and we felt like we did a good job as a staff of having a plan each day. And then we saw that it was Marvin again, and we got back to work on them, and they were just ready to go. I think this group has really kind of proven their leadership and their mentality as seniors and even kids that are underclassmen are, they're hungry, they're eager to get back to, an opportunity to compete and hopefully play for a state title. And, they've been focused for the last 3 weeks, and they came out fast, and, they're playing really good football right now.
Andy, you shut out 3 teams in a row in 4 of your last 5 or something like that. We talk a lot about the Millbrook defense and the West Charlotte defense and the Huff defense. Do you feel like you guys kind of get left out of the elite team conversation, elite defense conversation?
They can keep leaving us out. We got to prove it. So, hey, we know who we are. Our defense is really good. Everybody knows the Twins, and TJ, but, Miles Funderbrook is playing really good football as a D lineman. Ace Clements, the junior corner, is one of the most underrated corners in the state, in my opinion. His dad, Nate, played, in the NFL, was a first-round pick. We had 2 senior safeties that are playing really well, Brennan Shower, Aiden Mannion, and, we got a lot of players. So, I think they're very good. I see it every day trying to go against it, and it helps us. And, you add KD in there, at corner and moving him around to some nickel. And, I feel like we're hitting our stride defensively and giving offense to short fields when we need them. And we're having a lot of fun doing it.
As you look at this field in the 7A West, what do you think about, your matchup this week and just the other teams that are still alive? Britton, Grimsley, and Richmond, and Indy, and Reagan, and Mooresville, in addition to your game with Lake Norman.
Yeah, they're all really good teams. You look at all those records, no one has more than, Jack Britt has 4 losses. But, we've played Mooresville. I know we have a couple familiar opponents with Lake Norman, with Mooresville and Sun Valley. So, for us, it's just taking it one game at a time, not looking ahead to Independence, who Sam picked to beat us, not looking ahead to any of that. We got to get to Thanksgiving practice, and that means winning on Friday. And Coach Oliphant has done a great job with them, and they got a really good young quarterback and a lot of good skill guys. So we got to come ready to go and be prepared. But I think our kids are hungry, and the thing that they've done is we've been here in this situation. These seniors have been there for 3 years, and we know what it takes to win when it gets cooler, even though it's supposed to be like 75 on Friday. So for us, it's just continuing to stack days and have a good week of practice, and then come out and play as well as we've been playing.
I got something for you right here, Andy. You've been on this run. Hales talks about the November nightmares, but guys are the epiphany of that. Whenever you're going to practice on Thanksgiving Day, literally possibly 13 years in a row if you take care of business. And let's look at his profile picture. Is this not a true Italian right here? This is a great profile picture right here. I'm terrified of that man right there. Look at that.
You scared Andy Capone, period.
Yeah, terrified. Now, listen, you got to give us something, because you have something special running right here. I think it's the greatest stat there is in the coaching. And you're talking about your defense. Your defense coordinator is amazing too. I would put him up there against anybody. What's something you think you guys do differently or unique that you love, that you think that kind of gives you all an advantage? There's got to be something like, this is the way we practice on this, or we do this. We might go out on Wednesdays to go eat at this one place. There's something unique you guys do that we need a little bit of the insight.
Hales watched us practice last year, so he can tell you there's nothing special. I just think, what we do is everything is full speed, and we do everything hard. We don't do walkthroughs anymore. We're always in helmets and shoulder pads, even on Thursdays. And I changed that about 2 years ago because I felt like we kind of started slow, and I felt like our walkthroughs were kind of counterproductive. So, we put the pads on. So, I don't know if it's anything like that. Our kids come out and play, and there's times where we practice like crap, and I leave upset and all that. But, I think whatever juice or magic juice there is in it is every Friday our kids come out and play as hard as they can. And I think the compliment that we got 2 years ago was that your kids play harder than most teams. And I think that's something that, they can hang their hats on. But there's no secret sauce. We lift hard. We watch film hard. We practice hard. And, on Fridays they play extremely hard.
And I would like to comment, like the one thing that I see from afar. Sorry. Oh, go ahead, Hales. My bad.
He has more state titles than you. He gets to answer the question. Go ahead.
No doubt. This from afar, though, I think Weddington has a unique school where every sport is good. And I think the camaraderie of the student body supports one another. And I think there's something about that helps volleyball, helps football, helps basketball, helps baseball. Like, there's like a certain crowd that they all support one another. And you can't say that about every school. There might be football and basketball is good or baseball and soccer is good, but like they have collectively, their whole school is very successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, all of our varsity teams were, above 500 and made the playoffs. And, that's something that our AD Mike Hart, talks about to people and it's a great community, and winning matters. And that's what we preach on. And we just say, if you don't care about winning and losing, why are you even suiting up or dressing out to play? And it doesn't matter what it is. It could be, tic-tac-toe or rock, paper, scissors. Winning matters. And that's how kind of I was raised and born. And, I can't stand to lose no matter what it is. And, that's something that I think our community has kind of grown. And honestly, they expect to win, and they expect to be dominant. We can dominate a team and we give up 7 points early in the year and people are asking why we gave up 7 points, and so, the standard is now creeped into the community where, they're expecting us not only to win, but to dominate. And that's something that we've talked to the kids about. And, now it's winning isn't good enough. Now you have to be dominant and get to, where we're supposed to be, all the time.
Hales.
So, I'm sure you've had this question by now, and if you haven't, I'm glad I'm the first one to get to ask you. 3 state championship teams, a team that's playing, right now as well as it is. What's the best team that you ever had? Yeah. And where does this team stack? I mean, I know the kids ask you. The kids have to ask.
I know the best way to the team, but go ahead.
I get a bunch of crap. 23 was really good. But 19 was different. And you had, obviously Will as a junior. Alec Mock had a tryout for the Broncos last year after playing at the Air Force, and now he's doing his Air Force. Serving that for 5 years. Malik Mustafa as a senior, he just had an interception for the 49ers today, and multiple other guys. I think 19 was probably that 19 was unbelievable, but 23 was really good. Really good. We had 2 losses and kind of, it was Hale's got us on that one, in 23, and then we slipped up at Marvin, last game of the year. But I think both of them, it'd be a fun game to watch, and this group has a chance to be, defensively, I think we're right there. Offensively, I don't think many people talk about us. We don't have the big name quarterback, but Walker's played unbelievable. He's got, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, just under 1,700 yards. Mm-hmm. We got 2 kids with 19 touchdowns receiving combined with Johnny and Kelson, and close to 50 catches each. And, we were able to spread the ball around a lot and do a lot of different things. So, this group's not there yet because, we got to win the whole thing. But, I think 19, I would still give them the edge, and TJ and all of them are going to give me crap about that because they were part of that.
That 19 team,
it's a good problem to have, man. It's a good problem to have.
That 19 team had a player Sam was also afraid of. We used to have on the show. Sam would run when he came on the show, Mississippi. Sam,
Will's a very intense guy. Nice as can be, but he can get intense. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite players. The one thing I was going to say too, and you'd brought up, me coming by practice last year, excuse me. The thing that got my attention so much is just your kids know, like when it's time to work, it's time to work. Like when it's time to we could kind of let off the gas here for a couple of minutes, have a good time, and enjoy being out here. Like, that's just, to me, it's such a hard balance to have. And that's just, again, such a credit to you. And like you mentioned yourself, like just having that continuity in your staff, like everybody knows what to expect from everybody all the time. And it's just, it's such an underrated part of all this.
Yeah, I think that's something that I've had to grow. Also, you know, as a young coach, I felt like I had to just be strict and everything's got to be perfect and all that. And I still coach them hard and I still get on them and all that. But I also can, you know, sit with them and talk with them about stuff and all that. And, you know, you either are, you know, get listened to because you're respected or feared. And I would rather be more respected than feared, although sometimes I might be a little feared. But, hey, it is what it is. But our kids know, you know, we're out there for 2 hours or whatever, and we're probably a little less right now just with us being so late in the year. You know, it's time to get to work, and they'll get their breaks and they'll get their time. And I let them play music as long as it's, you know, something that I'm willing to listen to that day. And, you know, as long as they get –
it was a great playlist.
Yeah, as long as they get their work in, you know, and then we'll go home on time, you know, and that's something that we want to make sure they enjoy coming to practice, you know, and there's so much preparation for football with little amount of games. And that's, I think, the biggest difference in any other sport is, you know, you got to prepare way more than you get to go out there and play the game. So, you know, preparation is so important, and making sure every, you know, T is crossed and I is dotted before we get out there on Friday is huge for us.
Well, all that preparation has worked out really well for you. You can see right there on the screen, folks, 110 in 8 years, 3 state titles, 6 semifinal appearances. Coach Capone, you're killing it. Good luck on Friday night. And hopefully we'll get you back state championship week. We're interviewing all the coaches in state championship.
Yeah, hopefully me and Sam are at that press conference together, right?
As long as Sam don't wear that white suit, it's all good with me.
I would love that, brother. I'd love that.
Hey, if we get there and you get there, Sam, I'll buy a white suit just for that.
Oh,
would you? Let's do it.
I'm down.
I'm down. Let's do
if you're saying,
but hey, if we get there,
you're on the record. You're on the record. We got you.
On the record.
It's worth it. Even though Sam did take Independence.
You did do that. All right, Coach. Thanks for coming on, man.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks Coach. Good luck, man.
Everybody watching, Sam. They all watch what you got to say.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
We'll be right back after this break. I gotta go laugh in the back.
Hi, I'm Scott Fowler, sports columnist at the Charlotte Observer. I have been here 31 years, but you know what I never have had before here? A newsletter. I've got one now. It's free. I'd love you to sign up for it and get my take. Every single time I have a column, you'll see it first. Panthers, Hornets, college sports, high school sports, whatever controversies going on. Sign up for my free newsletter and you will be able to get my column every single time earlier than anyone else.
All right, guys, we're back on Talking Preps. It's time for the best part of the show. I am not Chris Hughes. I'm going to do my best Chris Hughes impersonation. So it's time to lock the doors, gentlemen.
Welcome to another edition of Thunderdome.
Now, Sam, I've been watching in the back. You have not been deferring anymore because you're afraid of Mr. Hales and Mr. Richmond.
That is the true statement. That's the only time I've been afraid.
You're afraid of Andy Capone as well. That's the true statement.
No, I'm not afraid.
You're afraid of Andy Capone.
No, respect the heck out of him, though.
All right. Question number 1, Sam.
Mm-hmm.
How much does football – this is a really good question for you. How much does football revenue or lack thereof affect the school's athletic budget?
It's the whole athletic budget for the most part. Self-efficient can be basketball. It's more of they're bringing in – they can bring in income for their own program roughly, but football can pay for literally every sport else outside. So we take care of our own, and then we're able to have an abundance if we do what we're supposed to do where, you know, programs like tennis, volleyball, softball, any of those things that like cost money, we're able to do it. And that's what we want to do. But football revenue is what has to come in to support a whole athletic program. It's not even close.
Hales.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that it took me a couple of years to really get a good handle on it. And when I would have my preseason meeting with the parents, I tell them, look, it's no longer about everybody has to play. Like, we're responsible for keeping the lights on for the athletic department. Like, it's like already at this level with, at this high school level, especially as big schools, like, it's a bottom line business. Like, how much money are you bringing in? Like, how much revenue are you generating? And of course, the more you win, the less you lose. Like, the more people are going to want to see you. But yeah, like, that's a huge part of what we do. Like, you got to keep bringing in money because, again, like, where else would the golf bags come from? Where else would provided that, the kids don't have to buy that themselves. So yeah, it's a huge part of what we do.
Gary, West Charlotte probably lost about 30 grand off the Independence game, not to mention these other games have been restricted. Your thoughts here?
Well, they talk about how it supports. And here's the other thing. The athletic budget is not the budget, but the number of teams is increasing. They're adding men's volleyball. That costs money. Okay.
Flag football.
And girls flag football, which is becoming real popular. And I know some of the kids paid money, but still, the buses, the lights to the stadium, the security for the games, all of that's coming out of football revenue. So it's tough when you don't have a good football program. It really makes basketball have to work even harder when the football program is not that good. And if you don't have a good football or basketball program, now you're talking about going into school funds to pay for some of this stuff.
Yeah, it's a tough thing. Question number 2, Gary, since you all warmed up, would you rather play a regional or state championship game at a big college or a big pro stadium? Or would you rather play it, more of like a UNCC with 10 to 12,000 fans, you can sell it out?
I think a 10 to 12,000 seat facility is better as far as atmosphere. Now, I know these kids would love to be able to say, I played in this stadium, especially those that won't go on to the next level. It's something they'll remember the rest of their life. But as far as game atmosphere, I think 10 to 12,000 seat facility is enough.
Hales.
Yeah, when I first saw this question, my first thought was, no, it's the 10 to 12,000 seat facility, because I've had the opportunity to play, to coach in Kenan Stadium. I had an opportunity to play in Williams-Brice, when I was at college. It's like I've kind of been there and seen that. But I think for these kids who've never had the opportunity to step foot, on a field like, up at NC State, up at Wake Forest, I think that's a really cool thing. I think that's a great reward. I do think that there is a lot more atmosphere, if you're going to play at that smaller venue. So I hate to be that kind of wishy-washy kind of guy, but
yeah, you're being wishy-washy.
I know, and I hate to say it, so I'm going to pick one. Give me the 10 to 12,000 seat. Let me hear a loud crowd. Let me have the hair on the back of my neck stand up. Yeah. Let me have that environment.
True story, Sam, before you go. In 2012, Hales had one of the 5 best high school football teams I've ever seen. I went to get something to eat. Like in the press box, you can walk over and get food. It was 0-0 when I walked over. It was 21-0 when I came back. True story. It was the biggest, most lopsided state championship game I've ever seen. What was the final score, 55 to 10? I don't even remember.
So the final is 56-28.
It was insane.
But we played Jack Britt.
You played your middle school guys in the fourth quarter.
We played our young guys. Clifton Duck was a freshman on that team. He ended up with a 65-yard interception return, and they had played Garner, I think, the week before in the state semifinals, where Garner threw it 4 times. We threw 3 double passes in that game. Yeah. It was just going into it is man, I don't want to be that guy, but I have a pretty good feeling how this one's going to go this week.
All right, Sam, you played at Winston-Salem for a state championship game. You played at NC State for a state championship game.
Wake Forest, and not Winston-Salem, but Wake Forest.
Well, that's what I mean, Wake Forest. That's what I mean.
Okay, yeah.
Wake Forest is in Winston-Salem.
I enjoy the settings because it's a beautiful atmosphere when you're walking in. Kids wanting to get to play in that big stadium, they might not get a chance to play at that Division I level.
Yeah.
But give me the Lenore Ryans, give me UNCC, give me the intimate setting where I can feel the hair crawling up my back. I want that, and I think the kids play harder in that. I think our crowd was pretty spectacular last year at the championship, but the problem you run into is, you're going to get someone from the East and the West. A lot of times there's not these big rivalries, and it's hard to pack that big stadium, in my opinion. So I don't know. I like the more intimate.
Let me say this. If there are two teams that are state championship level players, the teams are state championship level, then that team has probably been to those stadiums during the summer in 707. It's not a surprise to them. When you reach that level, your kid's been playing football all summer.
Right.
And if they've been playing football all summer, they've been to a big stadium, because they've gone to camps, they've gone to 707 things. So they've experienced it. They haven't experienced it with the audience, but they've experienced being in that stadium.
The one thing that we're not maybe looking at, maybe these big stadiums have multiple locker rooms, and I think it's a good transition.
No, that's true. But I've been to a lot of these state championship games, and Dale in the back has as well, because I've been with Dale in many state championship games. There'll literally be 500 people in NC State. Literally, and it's like, it's just the weirdest look in the world to look down and all you see is seats, and you see grandma in section 27 and Aunt Joni in 28, and that's really it. You see that.
Oh, and you can hear conversations.
Yeah, and you can hear conversations. And I've also been in big games, not state championship games, but big games in those more intimate arenas, and it's so loud, as Coach L said, the hair on your neck, back of your neck stands up. So me personally, I think it'd be better at the 10 to 12,000 seat facility. I love to sell out, just to you remember that atmosphere. Even when you guys played at Bank of America and you draw like 13,000, it's still swallowed up by the crowd. They did a good job of blacking out the top. But if you had played that game, say at District 3 Stadium in Rock Hill, and there's just nowhere to move, or Memorial Stadium, there's nowhere to move. I just think that's something that you remember. I don't know. But Hales, you got the last question here, sir. We've seen these playoffs for a couple of weeks now. If I gave you ultimate power and made you odds behind the curtain, not in front, how would you tweak this? How would you tweak it?
I would take a round off of it, and I think that's just right from the get-go. Because number one, I think for these teams that are going to play in the state championship game, like they're playing 16 games in a season. That's too many games for a high school kid. Sam, I think 8A, you guys play 12 games total to get to the state championship.
So you like our format? You like our format? You think?
Kind of, sort of. I do. I do think there's one too many rounds.
Sam has two fewer rounds than everybody else.
Well, I know that's why the font's so big when you get to the bracket. But
I thought that would be B3 title.
That may have cost, and that may have cost us a playoff win this year. Like if you didn't have that first shot, like if we would have opened up with Mooresville, but when you look at the scores, like especially when you're opposed, I was looking at it, there's not any close games, and I understand like early rounds, like you're going to have like a 116 matchup, a 215, like using the NCAA, the old NCAA basketball tournament bracket. Like you're going to have those, but like there's too many of them, and that's why I said like this round we're going to get to now is finally probably going to be the round where somebody gets knocked out that you don't expect. First round, no, that's not happening. Second round, most likely not. So, do we need that first round necessarily?
Gary, I'll make you odds. You have power. What would you do?
I'd go back to automatic bids as far as the first place team in every conference, they get a bid. The second place team in every conference, they get a bid. And then everything else is wild card based on strength of schedule. And then I think you get more competition. Now, like Brian said, I'd knock a round off of that too. And I think you would have, fewer teams if you go to top two in every conference. And then, say, 4 to 6 wild card teams. That's it. You don't need the state messed up when they went to 8 classifications. We wouldn't have this problem.
That's what schools asked for 8 classifications.
Yeah, I know they went to 8 because everybody wants a participation trophy. And that's what it is.
I like the 8.
Participation trophy.
Well, but isn't the reason we expanded to, and I know this is an entirely different conversation, is because when you try to put it into 6, there's no room for growth. For like as they're continuing to build more schools and more schools and more schools, like eventually 8A will be the right number.
Every 4 years when they do the reclassifications, that's when you do the growth. If you need to add another classification, then you go to 7 in 10 years. If you need to add
But it took us 60 years just to get together to approve, this one time to expand from 4 classifications. Like, it's hard enough to get all these people together to vote. So I think that's why they say, and again, I could be completely wrong on this, but I think that's why I said, let's just go to 8. And as more schools are built, it'll fill in, and eventually 8 will be the right. I'm not saying it's the right way, but like eventually 8 will be the right number. Recognize that right now 6 probably was.
Sam, your almighty odds. What would you do to the playoffs?
I would do exactly what the 8A is doing. I would make it bigger font for everybody to see, and I would just say that 24 teams is perfect. Let's make it very hard. I think that Gary said it perfectly. If you win your conference, it matters. You get automatically bid. You win your conference. After that, I would make it. I would add in strength of schedule with the RPI. If there's a way to add strength of schedule into that somehow based upon the classification your games are won. So say you're playing an 8-1 team, but they're a 2A, and an 8-1 team from 7A is different, something of that nature. Then I would eliminate the rounds. It'd be hard against. There's some teams that don't have no business being in the playoffs. And you don't want to be like a lot of us are coaching for free, like we said right now. So
yes,
we get to Christmas, we're still playing football pretty much. And so it would be nice that the championship week is you make it December. That's championship week, not the second week in December. So
like South Carolina does. Yeah, interesting thoughts, guys. Interesting show. I did learn that if Sam gets to the state championship game, Andy Capone will buy him a white suit. So both of them were white suit
baby.
To the press conference. I may have to drive up to Chapel Hill to see O'Reilly, wherever they have it, to see that white in December.
Hell's is going to come.
The way he said that, listen, I'm not going to be in a white suit. I'm not. But listen, the way Capone said that, and I'll be happy to tell him there's no way he doesn't already have a white suit. Right. He did not come out and say that without having one in the closet already.
I think he has a John Travolta. I think he's dressed up as John Travolta in Halloween a few times.
It's Saturday Night Fever if they both make it.
I know, right? With the big black collars and everything. Sam could probably dance like Travolta too, I bet. All right, Sam, put the big man as one shot. Let's get out of here because so Connie don't get mad at me.
7 o'clock, West Charlotte. No restrictions, baby.
Will it be 7 o'clock? Will it be 7
No
o'clock?
restrictions. Let's go.
Will it be 6?
Pack it.
Won't be 5?
Huh?
Won't be 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock?
No. 7 o'clock, baby.
3:30?
I got clarification.
Third block, man. Third block.
Have you been told that officially?
I'm making it happen right now. Let's go.
Sam said 7 o'clock, so hopefully everybody gets a chance to go see that game.
No
I do know whatever happens in that game, we'll be back on Sunday, and hopefully Chris will be back. This is hard, man, to host a whole show by yourself. But that is Sam Griner, the 2-time state championship coach of West Charlotte. He was outnumbered all show today with all these 3-time state champions we had on the show. I had Andy Capone, who he's scared of. This is the anti-Sam show this week. Brian Hales, the 3-time state championship coach of Butler. That is Dale Ross, the CMS historian. That's Gary Richmond, my frat brother. Just show your shirt, Gary. Show your shirt.
Founders Day.
And also a former CMS coach. I'm Langston, and we are finally done talking preps.
See you guys.